Pope Pius XII said last century that the sin of the century is the loss of the sense of sin. How many Catholic Christians today say they have no longer any sin? Cardinal Timothy Dolan wrote a pastoral letter which is called From the Pulpit to Confessional, commemorating two Catholic priests that were murdered in Iraq, Baghdad. One was celebrating Mass, the other one was in the confessional. So the title of this pastoral letter is From the Pulpit to the Confessional. One of the reasons why there is a lack of awareness of sin is because in many places the sacrament of confession is in decline. Sign of a very weak church or church in decline is when the confessional lines are very, very short, almost non-existent. And it sometimes happens that the communion lines are endless. There's either one or two things. Either these people are ready to be canonized, to be made saints, or it could be that they're making sacrilegious confessions. So we have to try to remedy this problem. Remedy this problem of the lack of the sense of sin. And I would suggest 3 ways to cultivate a more keen awareness of sin. The first is get yourself a good booklet on the 10 Commandments, which explain each of the commandments in detail. Get yourself a booklet that explains the difference between mortal sin and venial sin. Go through that examination of conscience thoroughly. Then have recourse to the sacrament confession. One of the tricks of the devil is he can get us to either believe that God's mercy is limited, that there are some sins that are so big, so serious, that God cannot forgive them. That's a trap of the devil. Another trap of the devil is go to confession but just put it off. Put it off until tomorrow. You've got a long life. You can put it off. Do it tomorrow. There's always going to be time. So these are 2 of the traps of the devil. To not trust sufficiently in God's mercy and to procrastinate. So go to confession. And the third practice would be to do a daily examen of conscience, where you go through your day, possibly at the end of the day, and see where God is present, but also see where you have walked away from God. By doing this, we'll start to really form a good conscience. So it won't be the sin of the century is the loss of the sense of sin, but rather that we would experience God's infinite mercy. And His mercy is related to a humble recognition that we are sinners.